another scientific experiment that highlights how the very act of measuring distorts the beautiful reality. You may have heard the double slit experiment with light. In this experiment, a beam of light is aimed at a barrier with two vertical slits. On the other side of the barrier is a photographic plate which is used to record the light as it falls on it after passing through the barrier. Understand? Each photon moves simultaneously in a number of paths, but an effort to measure the path causes it to collapse in a single path. In the same way, our very effort to perceive the infinite rising of the ocean of existence causes it to appear as what our limited mind perceives. Once a student asked a Zen master, "What is the path?" The master replied, "Everyday life is the path." The student asked, "Can't it be studied?" The master said, "If you try to study it, you will be far from it." The student asked, "If I don't study, how can I know it is the path?" The master said, "The path does not belong to the perception world. Neither does it belong to the non-perception world. Perception is a delusion and non-perception is senseless. If you want to reach the true path beyond doubt, place yourself in the same freedom as the sky. You name it neither good nor not good." Let's look at physiology of perception. Let us start with what really happens on a physical level when we perceive things. When there is a perception of physical reality, various parts of brain show a change in neural activity as the neurons, which are basic building blocks of nervous system, fire in synchronicity. This results in random visual patterns of light being perceived as specific shapes and forms. This is how the input from each of our senses is perceived as an experience of particular sound, touch, smell, taste or sight. If you now step back and look, you can see that before the observation of or the perception, both of the world as well as you, that is seen, and the seer existed in a dynamic and chaotic state of activity. The activity of perception changes the chaotic state into some sort of an order that becomes both the seen in the outside world and the process of seeing in the seer as the activity in the nervous system. At the same time, at the moment of seeing, the probability of what is seen collapses into a specific form. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, the Lord and Master, chooses to give Arjuna the experience of Krishna's cosmic form. Until then, Arjuna had seen Krishna only as a 6 foot tall handsome friend. But upon Arjuna's request, and after Krishna sees that Arjuna is ready to receive the cosmic form experience, he decides to give it to him. Arjuna then sees Krishna as the manifestation of the entire cosmos. In all its seeming chaos, he cries out, "O Lord, I can see all the deities in your body. I can see the divine stages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, I see many arms, stomach, faces, eyes and your limitless form. O universal form, I cannot see your beginning, middle or end." Arjuna is unable to bear the experience because he loses his intellectual control over things. He begs for equilibrium, meaning he wants his mind to be under his intellectual control again. He wants to know the cause and effects of things and feel that they are in his control, because the experience rips him away from his perception of the cause and effect logic itself. As long as cause and effect logic is under your control, you feel you are perceiving reality. Your ego is strong and steady, but the moment the logic is shaken, you feel tremendous fear. You feel you are just a drop in the ocean. What Arjuna sees is the absolute reality, but he is afraid of that very reality because it doesn't conform to his logic. He begs to revert to the earlier state of perception through his five senses alone, through his own solid identity, his own solid ego. So let's look at reality, which consists of 11 dimensions. We think we live in a world of 3 dimensions of space and 4th dimension of time. However, there are actually 11 dimensions. The fundamental dimensions are length, breadth, depth, time, and consciousness. The higher dimensions are combinations of these fundamental consciousness. For example, a stick has a length and has a breadth and a depth. It is in time and space. Now, if we keep length and breadth and just remove the depth, the stick will see, but the hand will pass through the stick. You can also keep the depth and remove the length and breadth, then nothing will be seen, but your hand will hit something if you try to pass it through. In this way, there are various combinations leading to 11 dimensions that make up the universe. When you are in a plane above the 4-dimensional space-time, you can currently perceive, you can see these 11 dimensions, you can see reality as enlightened beings can. Let's look at it. Chaos is order, and order is chaos. Whether it is energy in an atom or energy in the cosmos, there is a big chaos. In the energy plane, within that chaos, there is an order that you cannot even imagine. Chaos is energy. Anything is chaos, anything in chaos is wild and energetic. Anything that has order dull, any rule curbs freedom, reduces the energy, any regulation brings your energy down. Even in your house, if somebody says, do not sit at that place, you will feel like sitting only in that place. But until that rule is made, you will never even bother to sit there. Even habits like smoking are maintained for the subtle mental satisfaction that you are wild, that you are not bound. If you scan yourself consciously, you will understand that almost all of your happiness comes only when you break some rules, when you are chaotic. Chaos is order. The whole of existence is chaos in the universe. So many planets are moving, there are no traffic signs or no cops or signboards, yet the planets are moving so beautifully in their order. In the same way, in quantum physics, the smallest elements are not even particles, they are both particles and waves, and a multitude of possibilities. But there is an order in that chaos. If the universe is chaos without any order, it will head towards destruction. Chaos in order is what I call as cosmic intelligence. Let us understand. The cosmos is not just a force. It's a force plus intelligent. It responds to your thoughts, to your prayers, to your being, because it is intelligence. Once somebody asked Buddha, who is the creator of the universe? The Buddha replied, universe itself is its creator. The creator and the created are two separate entities. It means only the creator is intelligent and the created is not intelligent. The cosmos itself is the creator because it has its own intelligence. The cosmos is a living energy. You are sitting inside a living energy, believing the world is just matter in the basic mistake. This belief is the root of all terrorism and violence on the planet Earth. As long as we believe the universe is just dead matter, it is going to create only more and more thirst of power. Only when we realize that universe has its own intelligence, when we realize universe is a spiritual being, the seed of peace is sown. Only when we understand that our thoughts are responded to, our way of life is rewarded, our prayers are answered, there is a living intelligent force and there is an order in the chaos. Only then we realize and work for peace, bliss and spirituality. Then instead of trying to own or expand our boundaries and borders, we will try to expand our consciousness. The moment We start believing or trusting that universe is intelligence. We can simply relax trusting it. Order is chaos. There is a beautiful Zen story. A disciple goes to a Zen master and asks, Master, please explain me how you started, how you traveled the path, how you attained the ultimate experience. The master says, when I started, mountain was a mountain, river was a river, and tree was a tree. When I was traveling, mountain was not a mountain, river was not a river, and tree was not a river, tree was not a tree. Again, when I attained, mountain is a mountain, river is river, and tree is a tree. Before achieving, even though you think you are extraordinary, you are ordinary. After achieving, even though you think you are extraordinary, you understand you are yourself as ordinary. You are not just a simple body. You are not just a microcosm. You are the macrocosm in miniature form. You realize you are the ultimate endless ocean of potential energy, just like the universe. Only when you realize the cosmic consciousness in your body, the macrocosm in your microcosm, you will really become orderly. You will really learn how to be orderly without reducing your energy. As long as you try to become orderly, you will only suppress your energy and you will also be suppressing everyone else. First, when you realize the order in the chaos, you will become a spiritual being. You will experience love and bliss. When you realize the chaos in order, you will become a compassionate being. When you realize the order in the chaos, you will experience the experience part of love, bliss. When you realize the chaos in the order, you will express the expression part of love, which is compassion. Okay? We see two things in the process of seeing, the seer and the seen object. Actually, what is happening in the process of seeing, through the example of eyes is taken here, it applies for all the senses. From the seer, consciousness takes a jump continuously to the seen because it is not able to relax into the seer itself. Because of its restlessness, it gives life to the seen. The continuous jump that happens between seer and seen, from seer to the seen, from the seen to the seer, again from the seer to the seen, and again from the seen to the seer, is what is seeing. When the seer is not completely in bliss within himself, he starts becoming restless and jumps. When he jumps, he gives life to the seen. Because he gives life to the seen, the process of jumping becomes seen. There are two ways to drop this process of seeing. Either the seer or the seen has to drop the process of seeing to stop. When the seen is renounced, it loses its power and the seer over the seer. There is no point in jumping because there is nothing to be seen. When there is no place to jump, the seer relaxes in the seer himself. Then seeing does not happen. When seeing is not there, the seer is enlightened. A person who stops this jump by dropping the seen is a renouncer and a sannyasi. He takes away all the desires to see things, to believe that any of the sense objects hold value of him. The scene becomes unexciting and jumping stops. He becomes enlightened through renouncing. This is the true self-knowledge, jnana. In the path of jnana, the seer experiences a detachment and a complete witnessing of life. In this way, he tries to discover reality. The main object is the development of a sharp and pure intelligence through which reality can be experienced. On the other hand, when the seer himself drops, what remains is the seen, and again the jumping between seer and the seen stops. The reality is seen. The seer becomes enlightened through the devotion or bhakti. When the identity of the seer drops, dissolves into the seen, deep devotion to existence happens. Everything becomes an exciting manifestation of existence for him. His identity is no longer there. He merges into existence itself. That is why enlightened saints like Mirabai from India, who went on the path of bhakti, were in the trance of all the time, merged into the God consciousness, forgetting their own identity. Mirabai just sang praises of God and walked around the streets with no self-consciousness whatsoever. So in some way, either the seer or the scene has to drop, only then the jumping between the seer and the scene will stop. When the jumping stops, the process of seeing also stops. Whether you are stuck with the seer or with the scene, you get completely stuck and you are enlightened. If you are jumping between the seer and the scene, not relaxed, either you are under the illusion of a separate existence of the seer and the scene. This jumping is what manifests as your individual seeing. When the frequency of the scene is more than the seer can be changed or manipulated by the scene. When the frequency of the seer is more than the scene can be changed or manipulated by the seer. Well, this is it for today. We will continue further in part 3.